All right, welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. I'm your host, Cardinellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Hey, everybody.
And by now, you've probably seen that it's true. Bernie Sanders has decided to drop out, quit his pursuit of the 2020 Democrat nomination, which begs a question. Okay, will Barack Obama now endorse Joe Biden? Barack Obama's endorsement has been at best elusive and at worst more than tough to get. And the question is now basically, has Joe Biden now at this point earned it? You know, Obama for a long time has said, oh, I will endorse the nominee, the eventual nominee, and so on and so forth, which means that's Biden now. So is he now put in a position where he has to? That's the big question mark right now. So, Cody, why don't you tell us what is going on?
Well, I mean, as you kind of walked through it already, we saw this morning, probably about a couple hours ago now, Bernie Sanders did officially announce that he was stepping down from seeking the Democratic nomination in the 2020 Democratic primary, functionally ending the primary. I don't believe any I don't believe is Tulsi Gabbard still running. I'm saying, like, as far as people with a large share of the delegates, it's functionally over. I believe mathematically,
Vermin Supreme is still running.
I believe mathematically Biden is essentially nominee now. So. We can do a little bit of time looking back. Honestly, it's kind of been any day now for Bernie dropping out for a while. Nothing against Bernie. It's just as the results have came in, they've looked bad for him going on a month and a half now.
Yeah.
It is. I do want to note, there was a time in late February where Bernie Sanders was the lock-on favorite to win the nomination.
Yeah.
We've seen it far change. But you brought up earlier, and this is what I kind of want to get into today, because Bernie dropped out. That's interesting. But now, Barack Obama famously was the president under which Joe Biden served as his VP. Going back now to, this is one of the latest articles talking about it. There's been a lot of talk. Why hasn't Obama endorsed Joe Biden then? He was his VP. It's just kind of weird, especially because we were talking now. The endorsement of Barack Obama today, I would say for Joe Biden is kind of, I think an Obama endorsement would really help Joe Biden in a Democratic primary, which is now complete.
Yeah.
We were debating this. Honestly, I think Obama endorsing Biden in the general, it'll help, it'll be nice, but there was Trump voters that were former Obama voters who felt turned off by what Obama did. Those people did exist. I don't see them helping him. And the Democrats, I don't see Bernie Sanders, because there's the other thing too. We're now seeing reports, we're seeing numbers. I can tell you between 10 and 15% of 2016 Bernie Sanders supporters voted for Trump. I don't know why there'd be a wildly different number than that. I'm probably saying, maybe 1 in 10, 1.3 in 10 people who voted for Bernie will vote for Trump.
Yeah.
So you wonder, when you have that going on, the fact that Bernie voters probably aren't going to vote for Biden in the same numbers anyway, and an Obama endorsement, there's a lot of former Obama voters he lost. It's interesting to see how far that endorsement goes, because I want to remind you guys, when it comes to how Barack Obama feels about Bernie Sanders, this report surfaced last fall that Obama was saying he would go out of his way. He said, look, I'm not going to support anybody for the nominee, but I will work against Bernie. I won't work for anyone in particular, but I'll work against Bernie. I mean, these were allegedly what Barack Obama was saying a little while ago. I will mention it was coming from aides. But listen to this. Back when Sanders seemed like more of a threat than he does now, Obama said privately that if Bernie were running away with the nomination, Obama would speak up to stop him, which is hilarious to me too. It's like, if it looks like he's gonna win, that only now will I rise from where my tomb, or come back from my self-imposed exile.
He's been so strangely silent. I mean, of all the ex-presidents of my adult lifetime, like, generally presidents fade into retirement only to do general hoorah, we love America speaking engagements. Okay. I mean, George Bush is doing, I'm sorry, George, Little Bush. I shouldn't call him Little Bush, but, all in my adult life, Clinton came out on a couple of things to take some stands, but not too much. George H.W. Bush, George W. Bush has been super quiet post-presidency. Even Jimmy Carter did some interviews and things like that, but they all pretty much avoided the spotlight, especially in terms of speaking on current events. Barack Obama has been one of the most active post-presidents.
But how much of that is
in my adult
just
life?
The landscape of the country?
Some of it is the landscape of the media. I get that.
People are like, I don't know if you remember these memes. They were kind of like, they started off not as memes, where whenever anything culturally would happen, people would say Taylor Swift's silence on this issue is deafening. My point being, it doesn't matter if you're Taylor Swift now and somebody got harassed in a bathroom in Des Moines. People expect you to have an opinion on it. So I don't see how a former president can't fade
They expect
anymore.
you to have an opinion on it. They expect that opinion to be accessible. I get that. But all I'm saying is that I understand the landscape's changed and his celebrity status, especially due to his charisma and his media engagement, has made him a much more vocal and prominent post-president. I mean, for heaven's sakes, he's a Netflix producer now, okay? But
won an Academy Award, right? Or did he win it, or did the film he produced won it? One of the others.
It's something like that. I don't remember. I stopped following the Academy Awards 5 years ago. But anyway, he's definitely one of the most prominent post-presidents, and his heart and mind on so many issues has been so accessible to the public, except for this, Cody. I mean, he's really been mum is the word and has never really made any statements about anything. We've gotten a bunch of news stories where sources close to the president said he would, for example, jump in to stop Bernie Sanders.
Well,
and
I do
sources
think that
close to the president said, you don't have to do this, Joe Biden.
Yeah, well, there is one explanation, though.
Okay, hit it.
And here it is. It's Joe Biden. And I wonder, here's the thing, though. It's also one of those things that feels like this is totally what's going on. This is definitely not me trying to spin things and cope with. But this is a quote from Joe Biden going back. Let me see if I can pull up the date for you guys on this one. Make sure I have the right date on this. This is going back to end of March. Wow. We live in a time warp, man. This is going way back to March of this year, not even a month. Listen to this. In reference to Obama not endorsing him, Joe Biden says, "No, it isn't hurting me. I don't think it's time. He and I have talked about this in the very beginning. I have to earn this on my own." He goes on to mention, "The first thing everybody said when I announced, the opposition, the Democratic opposition, Bernie Sanders, said Biden feels entitled because he's vice president. Imagine, had president endorsed me, it would have been Biden's entitled because he thinks he's entitled because of the president's endorsement. The president and I are close friends, and I have no doubt when I win this nomination, he will be out there full bore for me." I have to admit, reading a Joe Biden quote, they did their best to
spin this?
Not to spin this. They did their best to put some punctuation marks and some...
Oh, yeah.
I honestly, I'm like, why? Is he just rambling? Is
that sentence didn't end.
I was in Joe Biden's mind for a few seconds there, and I was like, oh, God, man, this is terrible. Anyway, though.
Wait, Cody, before you continue, can we just all agree that we need to raise... I haven't believed there should be an intelligence test for leadership, but there should be a grammar test. I mean, Donald Trump... Bless his heart, but he does talk like a football coach.
I disagree entirely.
You know what I'm saying?
You should. I won't vote for you if you pass the stupid grammar test they give you. I'm not voting for that guy. I'm only voting for the guy who doesn't pass the grammar test.
I mean, there should be a rule of finishing a sentence. Like there should be a subject and a predicate rule.
Yeah, I mean, everyone rambles, though. I ramble. Yeah, I think everyone rambles.
We've gone from George Bush and strategery to, skipping. Like 3 of our past 4 presidential major it's been grammatical.
Can I step on you? It's almost like people appreciate that in the president. It's almost like people don't agree with you and they think it's endearing. That's how I feel.
Okay.
Anyway, though, the reason why I wanted to read this whole quote, though, and the reason I wanted to go into it, there is a potential that Joe Biden, for optics reasons, has been resisting Obama support in the public. The reason why this sounds like a full-on Cope post to me is just him just being like, I'm like, hey, Obama, make sure you distance yourself from me because people will think I'm entitled to, which, by the way, all Joe Biden never talks about is how he used to be the vice president and how back when I worked with Obama X, back when I worked with
he was in the Situation Room.
That's all he talks about. So no, I don't think he's ashamed to lean on being the former vice president. But there's a few more things I want to get into, though.
It's a big deal.
A few more Obama comments. This is one of and this was an article written. So this is I'll have all the links in there like always, but this is a fun one to check out. There's a lot of articles that get posted and they come and they go and whatever, man. I guess when you have to go back to find out some archived info, it's okay.
Yeah.
But this is a fun read to go back to even today. This is from August of last year, August 16, 2019. And they're talking a lot about the relationship between Biden and Barack Obama. This was a weird, and this is a little bit off topic, but this anecdote stood out to me a little bit. And this was talking about Barack Obama, Mr. Obama, wasn't the president at this point, in 2008, trying to decide who his VP would be. And listen to this. When it came to decide in August, Mr. Obama had to choose Mr. Biden over two younger finalists, Tim Kaine, the governor of Virginia, and Senator Evan Baya of Indiana, peers in the mold of Bill Clinton's choice of Al Gore in 92. Listen to this quote, though, of Obama. "You are the pick of my heart, but Joe is the pick of my head," Mr. Obama
Didn't
told
that sound
Mr.
like
Kaine
a romance
after
novel,
he made
dog?
his choice. Well, it's weird, but it also, it could be Obama just trying to be nice, but it also sounds like the kind of thing where it's like, not stuck with, but it sounds like Joe Biden became the vice president of Barack Obama for pragmatic reasons. It'll work.
Well,
I don't necessarily love the guy, but it will work. And I wonder if that was the relationship for 8 years. I don't necessarily love him, but hey, he's my VP.
Well, we know they didn't exchange Christmas gifts because a lot of people asked Joe Biden, "What did you get for Christmas from the president?" And he said, "Oh, we don't exchange gifts," which kind of always seemed weird to me. But Obama, anybody that follows the show knows I've mentioned this many times. Obama has said that he says his best political decision, his greatest political decision, was choosing Joe Biden as his vice presidential running mate.
Not his favorite, by the way.
Yeah, not the pick of his heart, but the pick of his head. And he still credits that choice as his greatest political decision he ever made. So it kind of makes sense to me that he'd tell Tim Kaine, "Hey, you were the pick of my heart, but he was the pick of my head." That's consistent with everything that we've heard from Barack Obama.
All I'm trying to say is that, trying to put some context as to why Obama and Biden have been so distant, it appears that, they weren't always necessarily number one. And this is also interesting, too. There's been some quotes that have just been trickling out from Obama about Joe Biden over the last few weeks and months. Listen to this back to fall. This is a quote from an aide that said, Mr. Obama allegedly told Mr. Biden, "You don't have to do this, Joe. You really don't."
Yeah.
Does that sound like, I can't wait to be running with you, Joe? You really, hey, look, you really don't have to do this.
That's like a mafia quote. That's what people say before they get shot by the hitman.
He went on to going on to this, and that I believe in another talk with aides, Barack Obama said, "Win or lose, they needed to make sure Mr. Biden did not embarrass himself or damage his legacy during the campaign." But again, I'm not saying that they dislike it. It's just weird. It's weird. I don't know why you don't have to do this and make sure he doesn't embarrass himself. That's weird advice.
No, it's because it's not advice. It's these people. Politicians are constantly trying to CYA. Okay, cover your A. And if you think that somebody's going to say something that is a reflection on you that is going to be detrimental, then you start hedging with comments like the one you just read, Cody. I mean, that statement right there shows that Barack Obama and the people in his inner circle and the people in the inner circle of the leadership of the DNC are really mortified that Biden is going to do something that damages them, that it's going to go beyond a gaffe. Well, I mean, good thing the Tara Reid thing happened. Good thing the Tara Reid accusations happened during coronavirus, so the media could, brush it under the rug and not talk about it. And Alyssa Milano is the only one that embarrassed herself with the hypocrisy of her conversation with the radio host on why she didn't go believe all women on Joe Biden. I mean, I really think there's a big time worry that A, he won't physically make it through the presidency because of his age or because of his mental health status. Okay. And I think there's a big worry that even if he were healthy enough to not be DQ'd for mental stability reasons or dementia or Alzheimer's, his gaffes while he was fully lucent, okay, were bad enough that he might do some real damage to the party as president. Now, I mean, he's controllable. They've got their hooks in him. So the DNC's candidate is Joe Biden. They wanted Joe Biden, okay? They've been running interference for Joe Biden for a long time. Some individual news outlets would play favorites with Elizabeth Warren for a while or with Bernie Sanders as like a novelty act and stuff like that. But they got what they wanted in the ultimate victory of Joe Biden. However, he's their imperfect electoral masterpiece. And I really think they do fear this Frankenstein's monster that they created might actually do some damage to their brand if they haven't done enough already.
But do you also think there's some fear? I'm just going to bring up this and maybe we'll touch off on this one. This is really fascinating to me. Poll just came out today from Morning Consult, which, by the way, Biden's been treated as the de facto nominee for a while. Remember when Joe Biden and Donald Trump had a phone call a couple of days ago about what to do with the whole current events going on right now? You notice Bernie Sanders' name was never once thrown in the discussion of when's Bernie Sanders going to call the president? It's like, it doesn't matter. But this is what I thought was fascinating. A poll came out asking who would be best handling this situation right now. And Americans said, we'll go into the whole poll. I don't want to, this is a very short article, but I just thought this result was interesting. A majority of, plurality said that Trump would be better than Biden. But the majority still said that Obama would be the best. I just think it's funny. Here we are talking about Obama, Biden.
Well, he's the most admired man in America.
But the bigger thing is, do you think that's also the part of it that's been an issue with Biden? Maybe. A little bit of it is, I think everybody knows if Obama was out there doing speeches for Biden, he would have dwarfed Biden's entire campaign. It would be the Obama speaking tour sponsored by Joe Biden's 2020 campaign. You know what I mean? And I wonder how much of it is that. How much of it is people do like Obama more than Joe Biden? So they don't want to make this another Obama run, the Biden camp. But because I agree. I have to say, just sitting back, doing no research, if you had told me that Obama would have handled it the best, and then it would be Trump, and then it would be Obama, 100 years in the future, like from a time machine, right? Yeah. I would say, okay, yeah, that sounds about right. I don't trust Joe Biden at all. I trust Donald Trump not very much, but more than Joe Biden to be competent. And Obama, yeah, I don't know, he seems pretty shady. He can probably get some stuff done. I'll go a little aside, a little tangent. Know. The reason why I think Obama would, I don't like getting into who's a better president, worse president. I definitely think Obama played ball with who he had to play ball with better, and he owned more people than Trump did. So he had less opposition to everything he did. When he wanted to do stuff, he got it done.
Of course, he had less opposition.
Not through the Senate and the House, but through his own branch of the government. I think that he's better mastery of his own branch.
Well, he had all three branches of government for the full first 2 years of his presidency.
Same with Trump, by the way. That's not an argument.
No, I get that, but I'm just saying these are things that grease the wheels. And also, I mean, Gallup does an annual survey, and I just looked this up right now. There's a political article about it. I didn't realize this, but apparently this is the first year that Trump has tied Obama in being America's most admired man. It's Donald Trump's first time being the most admired man, it's Donald Trump's first time being the most admired man, but Barack Obama's 12th consecutive first place showing. Okay. So I think when I see articles like the one you just posted about people thinking, okay, Trump is better than Biden, but people think Barack Obama would have handled it best.
Just one thing.
That's just because of his plain old celebrity status. Okay.
Well, no, I think there's legitimate trust issues around Joe Biden and his faculties, which I have myself. I don't have with Barack Obama. I don't have any reservations with Joe Biden. I'd have no reservations about Barack Obama's physical capabilities to do the job, or Donald Trump's. I have reservations about Joe Biden. I mean,
I think it's rose-colored glasses. We still think Babe Ruth was the greatest player of all time, and there's hitters nowadays that would smoke Babe Ruth. But it's the legend surrounding him.
That is such an awful argument. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. That's like saying, dude, those astronauts that were orbiting Earth, what morons! Now we have space stations. Yeah. Like, yeah, dude, the pioneers who made it all possible for everyone else.
Saying.
Yeah, what morons are they? Babe Ruth changed the way the game of baseball is played. He said, I'm going to score a run from home plate, and I'm not going to run because I'm just saying, like using hindsight to, well, when Sammy Sosa was on steroids using a corked bat, he had way more homers. No, Babe Ruth.
Hey, are you making accusations?
There's a reason.
Are you making accusations of Sammy Sosa?
Don't use analogies of things you don't know a lot about. Babe Ruth was a treasured individual for many reasons, okay? He wasn't just some guy who couldn't hit 80 homers because no one can. He was the guy who basically changed the way. Dude, it took like 40 years to break Babe Ruth's home run record, okay? Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's all-time home run record like 1970-something, okay? Like, trust me. He did a lot in the game. Sorry, just... People always do it. They, this old athlete's a moron because nowadays.
No, I didn't say they were morons.
People will talk about, someone was a good player.
Hold up.
How many
No,
three-pointers
you're
did he make?
lampooning my analogy.
Just forget it. We'll move on.
You're lampooning my analogy.
Yes, rightly so. It was a bad analogy. No. Anyway, all I want to do to get into all this stuff, I just wanted to highlight something, and that was that with Bernie Sanders out of the race, it really is. I mean, Joe Biden is the nominee for president. He really is. So I'm wondering if the reason why his the president he served under, if the reason why we haven't seen that support thrown behind Joe Biden was Joe Biden didn't want to come across as being presumptuous or feeling entitled to anything, that time's over, Joe. If Barack Obama is going to legitimately support you, the time is now. And I'm curious if we're going to actually see it. It's literally hours since he dropped out. Bernie dropped out. We could very well see there's a very good chance that Barack Obama's endorsed Joe Biden before this video gets published today. We can't publish it. But
Yeah.
that being said, the time is now. Every day that passes without, it doesn't have to be a rally, but just every day that passes without Barack Obama
Is an eerie silence.
acknowledging that Joe Biden is, because he doesn't even endorse him anymore. It's just acknowledging he is your nominee now. I don't know. It's curious.
And it's been awkward to see a guy that could be Barack Obama's father, at least in terms of age, just coming with him hat in hand, just, well, now will you endorse me, Barack? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it's at best very, very awkward because we haven't seen any overtures of any enthusiasm coming from Barack Obama's office about the basically, I don't want to say impending doom, but the impending and ultimately undeniable nomination of one Joe Biden. Okay. We haven't seen any press releases, any comments, any tweets, any of anything that has indicated that Barack Obama is enthusiastic about it, even though this was his guy for 8 years. So it is at best awkward. Okay. I mean, I kind of feel awkward waiting around like, okay, is Barack Obama going to endorse him? And when he does, is it going to be just a crappy endorsement? Like, oh, well, he won. And I did say that I would endorse the nominee in a way that kind of sounds like he's hedging. Also, why really hasn't he done it yet now? I mean, if he were going to claim that my endorsement is automatic because Joe Biden just won the primaries, then you think it would happen right away. But when it doesn't happen right away, it makes it seem so it's not automatic. So is he like holding out for, I don't know.
Remember when
elusive Andrew Cuomo, like dark horse? Is he holding out for pushing Michelle into the spotlight? Is he holding out? Cause I don't know. Tulsi Gabbard is really impressed him. Like what's he holding out for?
Oh, he does not like Tulsi Gabbard.
I know.
It's a great point though. It's almost like, I don't know, maybe Obama. I almost feel like this. I feel like I would respect Joe Biden more if Barack Obama came out 6 months ago and said, I don't think Joe's got it in him. If he wins, whatever, man. I personally don't support him. And then Joe winning in spite of that would give me faith. That would give me confidence.
That's gangsta.
This is weird. It's not super weird, but it's only weird because the story's been developing for a while. We've been saying for a while, well, eventually he's probably going to endorse Joe Biden once he's the nominee. But you saw Andrew Yang endorse Joe Biden. No, he did not endorse Bernie Sanders. He endorsed Joe Biden a couple weeks ago now. I'm in the time warp of the current event, so like 3 weeks ago. But he basically, because look, there's no way Bernie wins now. There isn't. We've all known that it was de facto over for Bernie. Just looking at the numbers, not even looking at he can't. Not getting into my opinions. Just the numbers coming in was he's not winning the election anymore. Very interesting. We've still heard radio silence, I guess, from Obama so are you going to endorse the guy? Are you going to endorse your former VP yet? Because the other thing, too, if he had just 4 months ago been like, well, of course, Joe Biden serves under me and I really respect him, so I hope he wins. If he had just said that 4 months ago, people wouldn't be asking. But now we're still wondering, we're still waiting. And I do wonder, almost as to your point, is Obama and co working on something behind the scenes to have a surprise for us on the convention? I don't think so, but I will say this. We didn't touch on it a whole lot in this podcast. Maybe we'll do another one touching on it later. There is big, serious, legitimate red flags around Joe Biden. Mentally, it does not, not always, sometimes it's just like, dude, what is this guy saying?
It is bad.
Not always, but there's times, and then on top of that too, you factor in we're having the allegations resurfaced, we're having accusations come against him more and more. There's reasons why this could be bad for Joe Biden moving in towards the alleged convention. Are they going to have a convention in July? I don't think so. Not as planned. In Milwaukee, are they going to everyone going to just show up in person? I don't think. And here's something else too. You think, remember people were saying, oh, if Bernie loses, Milwaukee's going to burn. What is actually going to happen now? I have no idea what's going to happen. So it's a lot of weird stuff, but crazy to say.
Antifa's going to be out there with their face masks, bro.
How about even just burn?
They're already locked and loaded for the current event, dude.
Well, to be disappointed, no one's going to be. But it's weird as we sit today. Joe Biden is literally the presumptive Democratic nominee now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nobody. I think numerically it's over. I don't think anyone else can catch up to him. And I don't for 1 second feel like it's. How do I explain this best? It's there's not one part of me that believes come November, Joe Biden's name is like, it still does not feel right to me. Come November, Joe Biden's name will be on a ballot. I don't think so. I think they'll find, I think something will happen. They'll have to get him out of there. I really do.
Well,
it's just getting progressively less. I've become progressively less and less confident in Joe Biden's physical capabilities to do this over like the last month and a half. Just watching
the stress of it. I mean, the stress of it in an already fragile mental health state has just made his decline exponential. And it's showing, and it's showing fast. So you're right. I mean, that's literally what Joe Rogan said. He said, I don't think he is physically up to it. Look at how the first 2 years aged George W. Bush. Look at how the first 2 years aged Obama. He looked like he aged 10 years in 2. And I don't think Joe Biden is up to the physical stamina required to have the weight of the world on your shoulders, at least the weight of the free world. Okay? That was basically Joe Rogan's argument. And we're watching in real time Joe Rogan's argument play out. And the only other thing I would like to mention before we quit here is that I thought it was really interesting in a couple of articles I read that Bernie Sanders was still encouraging his supporters to try and get delegates so they could exert influence on the platform, which, okay, I mean, I can kind of respect that, but to a certain extent, it's like if you're ending your campaign, you're basically giving up on the influence that you have to a certain degree. And you're now 80 years old. I mean, I don't think Bernie Sanders can change the conversation any more than he has. I don't think he can push the Overton window any further than it has. We've basically pushed it as far left as it can go while still fooling ourselves into thinking it's free market capitalism. Anything beyond this are situations that he's proven he can't win. He never had a young person revolution. He never had a fundamental change of how the government controls the economy. He never got Medicare for all or got anybody to really on a large scale cozy up to the idea. On multiple times, the American people came to vote on his ideas that were presented fairly, and he did not win the argument. Yes, there was ways he was pigeonholed by the DNC. Yes, there was ways that he was ignored or else he was this or that. But at the end of the day, his ideas got out, and it was found to be a fringe idea that the more Americans didn't want. You know what I'm saying? You can't blame the margin of his losses on DNC interference. You can blame a championship game that was decided by 8 controversial calls of a referee that was lost by 1 point. Yeah, now we might want to be looking at the referees. But if it's a blowout of 60-20, you can't be blaming referees. And is that a good sports analogy, Cody? Is that a better one?
I guess.
Is that better one? Okay. So Bernie Sanders has been blown out, and you can't blame the referees at this point. You have to look at his ideas and his platform. So I thought that was kind of odd that he was still wanting to win delegates to try and push the platform somewhere. But hey, fine, whatever. I guess that'll be his legacy. Please let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's continue the conversation. Follow us on Twitter at PSP Radio 1. This is Problem Solver Politics. We'll see you guys in the next video.